So we have an episode coming up, ladies and gentlemen, that could be sensitive to some listeners and some viewers. There'll be conversations around drugs, alcohol and suicide. So a warning for you that if those topics are sensitive for you, you might want to switch off or watch with care.
Welcome back to episode 2. We're going deeper into our stories before ABandOfBrothers, during ABandOfBrothers, and kind of up to current and what we hope to achieve in the future from doing this work. So I can start off, but
Go.
I'll start off. Okay, so originally why I joined ABandOfBrothers, so it's quite a long story, but I'll make a short version. Basically, at the start of the end of 2024, I got involved in a quite awful thing that happened with a family friend of mine, which just set my mental health going to different planets, because I was part of a system which I'd never been in before and didn't understand the whole system and didn't understand why, and it built up a lot of emotion.
What system?
It was the criminal justice system. So yeah, and to be honest, I didn't, as much as I understood it was a bad thing, it's so hard when you're in that system to realise what you need to do in your head to change your attitude, because I've went for a very long time trying to chase an answer which I wasn't going to get, and I still don't get 10 months later. So I was kind of back and forth in my head. So I actually, that was when I initially joined, and I can't lie to you, when I initially joined, I was still in the mindset of like, I hadn't done anything wrong. Like I kind of felt like I was the one in the right. When I actually delved into a lot deeper and I actually realised why I was feeling like that, and that's kind of in the middle of the journey where I came and realised why I did what I did, because that's justifying what I did, but why my emotions were feeling like I was kind of always in the right, like I didn't do any wrong.
What was the question you wanted answered?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think I wanted an answer. Oh, sorry, to do with the justice system.
Yeah, you said you were always still wanting
it was kind of, when it initially happened, it was kind of a blur, like not a blur in the sense of like I didn't know what was going on. I'd more a blur of, because it was a system I had no clue about. Every other system that I'd been a part of, i.e. work or something like that, you can always kind of speak to someone that has like a background piece of information or something. Whereas in this scenario, I was kind of the outside employee, where I didn't really know. In the dark, exactly that. So I didn't really know what was going on, and they were stripping me of pretty much a lot of stuff. Like they were controlling pretty much where I could go, what I could do, and stuff like they took my phone off me, and that was a piece of equipment that I used pretty much to not fund my life, but it was a big piece of me. Like I grew up in technology pretty much, so everything ran through my phone. And at that very moment, I was actually in my final year of university, just about to go into my final year of university, and it was massive. I mean, literally every single password that I had was on that phone. And when you're calling up, all you're getting is, oh, they're not in office. No, they're not in office. Or they don't want to. Basically, I found out now I come back from it, is they'd actually lost my phone. They'd lost my phone, and they didn't want to admit it. And that's why now, if I'd have been chasing that for years, I'd have spent more energy trying to chase where my phone was, rather than developing, carrying on my life. And actually, the energy that I used to the energy I used, rather than draining it on the criminal justice system, I put it into my university, and I thankfully got a first from it. So, but yeah, that's one of the things I was trying to chase an answer of why. What's the next step? When are you going to do it? When are you going to end? And even now, when we're 11 months later, they've still got a piece of string above my head. But in my head, I know that that's not going to change everything. That's not going to change my whole life. I'm 21, nearly 22. Like that's even if it changes the next 5 years of my life, it's still only a small part of my life. And that's when I think I kind of felt like the world is ending. It was gone forever. So that was kind of why I joined. Not really why I joined, but I went on a bit of a bump then. And then in the ABandOfBrothers thing, I actually let them thoughts get so deep inside of me. And I remember having a phone call with Stu the night after it happened, and basically everything had got so much for me. I went out with my friend, got really drunk, and I was on the way back on the train, and something in my head just said, I don't want you to live anymore, like, it's over. And I remember sitting at the top of, I think it's Lee Hall train station, basically wanting to jump off this bridge. And I remember my family rang me. It was raining. It was almost like a film setting. Like it was completely surreal. Like, there was no one there. There was one guy that heard me, and then, well, I know where the police came and arrested me because for some reason it's for their protection, even though they're protecting me. But I don't know what that is about. I got in a police car, came home, and then I remember even waking up in the morning, you know, when you've done something that you're drunk and you're like, I really regret that. I woke up and I felt exactly the same as I felt the night before, which is very odd if you've done something like that. And yeah, I remember reaching out to a few of the ABandOf Brothers people and just saying, like, listen, this has happened. I feel very shameful of it. And that's when it was kind of a change actually in my life, where I realized that I needed to stop focusing on what had happened in the past to allow me to move forward. Because even though I thought in my head I'd addressed them and I'd moved on, I was actually still attacking it. It was almost like an ex-girlfriend for me. I hadn't let go of what had actually happened, and I was still holding on to the begrudgement and stuff, and like the anger that it caused in me, because even though I was the one that was the doing, I felt anger because how my family were getting treated at the time. And that was something massive for me, I think. And I was holding on to it, and it just crumbled me. And then we moved forward into present time, where, yeah, I'm so glad I let go of all that stuff, because, I mean, what was it? A few weeks ago, I was at a Crown Court hearing, and I actually, for rather than thinking, oh my God, like, I don't know what's about to happen, I thought, well, listen, this is what it is. I had the tools from what I learned to try and put in, like, listen, it's going to be a complete different world. Like, you can't get up in the middle of the night and go and get some snacks. Like, it's not like that, but I still feel like I'm in the mindset of it. If it happens, it happens, isn't it? But I still feel like I'm in a better space than I was holding on to, like, bereavement almost.
No.
Thank you, James. I mean, I've known you since January. I've not heard the detail of that story. And what I have seen is the growth that you have demonstrated in the community, and the work. We turn up on a Monday night and we do work. We work on ourselves, and I've seen you do work, and I didn't know the detail of what got you here.
Yeah.
I recognise the work that you've done, and it's impressive hearing how you've described where you got to.
Yeah, I can remember it was mine that called me up.
Yeah.
I can remember they calling me up on a Sunday morning and saying, we've got this guy James. I could remember you. Says he's had a bit of an incident last night. Is there any chance you can reach out to him? I can remember us having a call for an hour and a half. But the person, how long's that been now? For 8, 9.
Yeah, March time it was, I think. Yeah.
Is it what it was? Yeah. So you've definitely, the man that you were to the man that you are now, you're far more self-conscious and self-aware, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know what journey you're on. But yeah, I think we all, like for me as well, I'd say from an eye point of view, but it's what I see for a lot of men and that get involved in this sort of work. A lot of it comes from going through a trauma and understanding what that pain is. And once you've gone through it, you gain skills that you don't gain from anywhere else, which you find easy to pass on to somebody else. And if you have that sort of way about you, that trauma, although it might be really hard at the time, like what you've been going through, what happens is you look back over so many months or so many years and you realise that actually it was a blessing, because what I've been through now gives me all of the tools and everything that I need to help countless amounts of people. Yeah. It's sort of, but it's about you can't control what's going on around you, only how you deal with it. Like your court thing, that's whatever's coming's coming. And I think that's the better,
Well, that's exactly it, Stuart. I mean, I was actually at a family meal last night, and obviously I've just got a nice new girlfriend, and we were sat at the thing, and my family were actually tearing up thinking about it, because they were like, as much as it was a terrible thing what you did, it has changed your life massively. I remember, and I'm still seeing friends now that I used to chill with back then, and they're going around getting drugged up and that, and I'm thinking, how, if that had never happened in my life, would I be sitting on that same trajectory they're sitting on? Like, they're spending thousands and thousands of pounds on weekends going out, and I'm thinking to myself, as much as it was an awful thing and it's gonna stay with me for the rest of my life, it's actually changed my trajectory of life for me. And that's what really upset my family, because they were like, not upset, but in happy tears of like, wow, like you've came a long way from what you were doing.
Yeah. It's sort of like when you go to the gym, you put stress on your muscles and that for them to grow a little bit. Same in life, when stress comes along, you put stress on your life. All of a sudden, something grows from that, which in the long run makes you a lot stronger. But if you didn't put the stress on it, you just remain the same and nothing changed and you don't grow. Because sometimes stress and that pressure and that it gives you the strength to be able to become who you need to be. You know, without it, you just, for me, I'd be floating in life.
Yeah.
I think about my life in two parts: before A Band of Brothers and since A Band of Brothers. Feels like a different life. I remember I'd just done a really long bike ride with my brother-in-law. We rode from Land's End in the south of the UK up to the north to John O'Groats, and we were doing 100 miles a day. I was helping navigate, plan the journey out. It was tough yakka to do that bike ride. Got to the end of it, and all of the work, I'm self-employed, all the work that I'd had booked in my calendar for the remainder of the year had some reason disappeared from my calendar during the bike ride. And so I'm sitting there in September of 2022, and I had no work. My son, my daughter, and my wife all went away somewhere, and I was completely alone. And I'm not from this country, so I've never felt more alone than I did feel in that September. And I just thought, what am I doing where I am so disconnected from humanity and mates and everything else? And something needed to change for me. And I remember actually doing an end of life plan, not to end my life in that moment, but to consider when my life might end and what I wanted to have in it. And that's when I met the physio. And that's when the physio suggested to me, hey, why don't you reach out to this organization? And I sent an email on the Sunday after I saw him. I got a response from JT, one of our men from the community. He messaged me back within an hour of me sending an email and said, we'd love to have you come and join our organization as a mentor, but you have to do a weekend first. And so the weekend that was available for me to do, which was the next one, the only one they had a date for, they didn't know when the next one was, happened to be the following Friday. So I cancelled everything in my calendar for that weekend. I turned up to the weekend, and I'm not going to give any details of the rites of passage weekend away, because there's beauty in the not knowing of what you experience. It's a challenge to go through, but I will share my experience, which was I went through an experience, like a piece of work or a process that happened, where I ended up being held by 10 men in their arms, being rocked to a song, It's a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. And I tell you what, I was crying my eyes out. Every one of those men were also weeping, looking at me. And for the first time in my life, I actually felt accepted in the world of men. I felt like I belonged. And that sense of belonging has never left me since. All the clients I used to work with before that point, a lot of them were ladies. I used to coach women regularly. Now, most of the people that I coach are men. I coach teams of all different genders, but the predominant people I coach one-to-one are now men. My trajectory of what I do for my work has fundamentally shifted as a result of that weekend. So, yeah, there's so much gratitude I have towards A Band of Brothers, and the opportunity to continue to learn and develop and grow. You talk about building the muscle.
100%.
Like to come and play in a podcast with you fellas, to be able to help hold a community or to do whatever needs to be done for this charity to progress. All those gifts I feel like I get to receive on a regular basis, and it's great.
And it's every day, even when we're talking on the WhatsApp, there's always some sort of interaction. The community is never away. And if you do step away from it, even if it's a few weeks or maybe a year, you're still part of that community and you can step straight back into it. That's the great thing. It's sort of like you've never left. Once you're in, you're part of the family, you know, you've never left. And it's sort of it's a good thing, because everybody hasn't got time in their lives to come to a circle every week or do what they might need to do, but the heart's always there. You know, it's sort of, and I like that. I like that about it.
Corey, I want to ask you. I know that I want to hear initially about a bit of your journey to get here, but I'm also really interested because you've been lucky enough over the recent weeks to do a pretty spectacular thing where I heard you came back changed from that experience. What do you want to talk about, before or your peak experience?
Oh yes, the peak experience. I feel.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So ABandOfBrothers as a whole got sort of invited to attend 5 weeks in the beautiful place, which is Scotland.
5 nights.
5 nights.
It's not 5 weeks. Okay. You would have been up there for a fair time if it was 5 weeks.
To be fair, I would have stayed there. Scotland is in my blood, so I absolutely loved it there. There was a handful of us got invited to attend 5 days, nights in Scotland.
Whereabouts in Scotland was it? Do you know?
Whereabouts it was? So it's just outside of Glasgow, in a little place called Loch Lomond. So that was it was different because obviously like day-to-day life is just big buildings and your cars and loads of people.
Concrete jungle.
Yes, correct. Yes. Scotland, could speak about Scotland for like ages and ages, but it's such a beautiful place and beautiful people. Love the accent. It was just, man, it was just an amazing experience. I was warned not to go up to the top of the mountain in shorts and t-shirts, but as a Scotsman, I did not listen to that at all. In shorts and t-shirt, but I was sweating the whole way up. So even if it was cold up there, I was so glad that it was windy and a little bit cold. It cooled me down, and I absolutely loved it. Everyone else was like, bloody hell, man, you got to put layers on. You got to put like, everyone else was like 3 layers, 4 layers, 5 layers. I'm just like chilling, like shorts and t-shirt. Like, yeah, man, this is Scotland. This is like, and then I even went in the loch, which is basically just a massive lake, and it was freezing in there. A lot colder than up in the mountain, but yeah, we'd wake up very, very early, probably about 8-9 o'clock in the morning. And we'd go down to the loch, have a dip, just like chill for like half an hour in the loch, and it was so refreshing to go down in really early in the morning and just be woken up by the beauty of Scotland, but also the coldness of the lake itself, and it was just.
Can I ask you just what was, so aside loch and climbing up mountains and stuff, what was the premise of going to Scotland? Because it wasn't just one big holiday. There's some premise. Do you want to speak a little bit into that?
Yeah. So we did some conservation things. So such as planting some trees. I think altogether we probably planted about 100 trees, and that was pretty cool. We did build some fences around the trees to sort of protect them from the animals in the farms and on the lands and things, so they could the trees could grow and be big old oak trees in thousands of years, which sadly I would never see. But
I read a quote recently that an intact or strong culture exists when men plant trees whose shade they will never sit under.
Yes, and that definitely came to fruition on the 5 days, like 5 nights. So yeah, there were a lot of the things that we did, like the planted trees and the fencing, and we actually fixed a thatched roof, which is a very old roof. We would never get to see the fruits of our labor, but it was absolutely amazing to know that in many years ago, there will be big old oak trees, and people, generations from us, will enjoy, seeing what could happen if we, come together and do something amazing. Again, amazing time. Yeah. And if there is another chance to go back, I'll definitely put my hand in the ring for that.
If there's something that you know about yourself now that you didn't know before, what would that be?
Before Scotland?
Yeah.
That I'm capable. Walking up the Mount Lomond. Ben Lomond. Yes, walking up Ben Lomond, the massive mountain. It took pretty much all day to get there and come down, and I ashamedly struggled the whole way up there. I was lagging behind. I was breathed out like a whole ass, and struggling the whole way. But I got off the top, and I was like, you know what? I did this. I was up to the top, and I was like, yes, I can confidently say that I climbed up Ben Lomond in Scotland.
Thank you, Corey.
Nice.
Yeah, so to kind of heard a bit about your story, it sounded an amazing journey. I actually got the opportunity to go, and unfortunately, when I actually came off the quest weekend, I had an epiphany of that I was building too much inside of me, and I didn't go. And now I'm hearing all the story, I'm thinking, why didn't I go, love? What was going on with me? So yeah, but one thing I wanted to do, I want to give a bit of time to Stu. If you could just overview, because obviously you're a bit older than me, but you're not that.
What can I?
So do you want?
How I got involved with it, but what led me to ABandOfBrothers?
Yeah, that would be good. If you want to start.
So how did it? So it's really hard. So I spent like 8.5 years in prison. But the reason I spent 8.5 years in prison and why I sort of wasn't the man that I wanted to be was because emotionally, my emotional intelligence, and I think this comes down to a lot of people growing up, my emotional intelligence isn't where it should have been. And it was hindering my development. So I went through a lot of trauma and a lot of sort of self-discovery and soul searching and all that sort of thing. And through working with people in prison, usually organisation from outside, or working with individuals, I started to sort of recognise a few little things that I wanted to change in myself, but I didn't know really how to do it. So like a blind man stumbling in the dark trying to make a sandwich, what I was doing was I was trying to pick up things from here and there, and I knew I was on the right sort of path because it tasted all right. Does that make sense? I'm right. Yeah, it didn't feel. Oh, so when I got out, I knew I was searching for something because my friend George said, ABandOfBrothers, you must get involved, and I didn't really know what it was about. But when I got involved with it, what I realised was it was sort of like an open book for me to sort of reflect on myself. Like I was opening pages of this book which were talking about me, and if I was willing to read and put the work in, then I could sort of make a better version of me, which is what I was looking for. But the reason it worked was because I was around a load of other people which were showing me how to do it. So yeah, the things like I was talking about earlier, I think trauma comes in. If when you go through a lot of trauma, or you go something that's traumatic in life and it rocks you and it shakes you, what you tend to do then is you want to try and find what I want to do. I wanted to find a way to try and grow in a different way, that so I wouldn't be rocked and shaked in the future. and I wanted solid foundations and, you know, good building blocks, good roof, good windows, nice door, everything solid. It can't fall down again, but something solid enough that I can invite somebody in. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense. And this is like I'm 47 years old now, and it's, you know, it's only been the last few years where I've really sort of been that aware how you should be, what you should be doing, what I should be doing in the community, and what I should be doing about my future. And I think it's really good to be able to have young men like yourselves sort of learn that from a young age, because then you have 20 years of your life, which is going to be so much more
Productive,
productive than what mine was, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully you won't end up in prison or failed relationships or jumping from job to job or drug addiction or whatever it might be. Do you know what I mean? Because these are all things that come from if you haven't got the right emotional intelligence and the right foundation to build off. Otherwise, everything starts crumbling around you.
Do you think one of the things that, I don't want to touch too much into the prison side, but you think if these younger men that you are seeing it going into the criminal justice system, see if they had a community like we're trying to build, if they had that, do you think they would potentially not gone into that side, or do you think that's the nature of
what happened? What the thing is with the criminal justice system, a lot of people that are in it, they're either drug addicts, they're mentally ill, or they're from communities where they haven't had the opportunities, or even if they had the opportunities, they were so saturated by selling drugs and stealing and all that sort of, it becomes part of their life. The trouble is, what these men need around them is men from their own community that are showing them a different path. Instead of earning your money, instead of trying to get respect through fear or through being the gangster, try doing it a different way. You know, do it through helping your community and all that sort of thing. Because a lot of the men that do that, if there was men there to follow doing it, I've seen it in prison. You have men on wings, they will run the wings with fear, and everybody will do what they want to do out of fear, but it'll be a shit wing, ever be on edge all the time. Or you can run a wing, you can still have that same strength, but you run it with respect, you set boundaries, and then all of a sudden you've got a nice community that works well because there's somebody that's running it with a level head, with emotional intelligence. And it's exactly the same in the community. What I found in prison was it's a condensed version of society, it's the condensed version of the community. So I know it sounds strange, but it's almost like an experiment. You can use it as an experiment in there. And it's very, I think what you were saying, if in the community, if you had more men around that could show a better example, I think that's what would make a change. But communities in general and society in general, it's a very difficult thing to achieve.
Yeah, I definitely think that.
You touched on something that I think could be a really good future episode. What advice would I give a younger version of myself? I'd love to know, like, well, not for this episode, but I think for a future episode, there's plenty of advice that mentors could come and share.
Yeah,
because I would say heaps to myself if I was 20 years old.
Oh yeah, I think it's different from our shoes because obviously we are the mentees. We don't really, I see bits of me, but not all of it. And I think that'll be a great, maybe next episode or a future episode. But yeah, as it is approaching the 30-minute mark, which I don't know how that went so quickly, but yeah, it was great hearing from everyone's story. And there's actually stuff I didn't even know about you guys before coming here. So yeah, it was a good eye opener, and hopefully a few people can relate or correlate some of the things in their life to our stories, which may help you. Hopefully join our community.
I think maybe if you're watching this, you might be searching for something, searching for answers. So it's maybe it's just worth that seed's there, maybe just letting that seed grow a little bit. You might find something,
That's exactly it.
Your description of books, it's almost like when you step into our community, you have access to an encyclopedia of men's lives where you can open those books.
Yeah, you can,
and read, because every man's story is different.
Yeah.
And every man is willing to share of themselves for men to learn from.
Authentically.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, sorry. God, that was loud. That was a great episode. Thank you very much for sharing.
Yeah.
And if you would like to watch any more, if you click on the YouTube, subscribe, like the video. And if you have any questions or you want any episodes that we potentially want to create in future, leave them down below. We'd love to hear. But for that, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you later.